Yes.
Learn to say no to as many of the holiday parties and get-togethers and gatherings and all these traditions and everything else. Learn to say no to the ones that aren't mission critical. What's mission critical during the holidays? I guess anything that's really going to make you happy and going to make those around you really happy. Not kind of happy, really happy. And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
It's the holidays, babe. How you feeling about that?
I'm excited.
Are you? Like, okay, scale 1 to 10. How excited are you?
An 11.
You're lying. You're not 11 excited, are you?
I am excited.
I'm the guy who's usually like 11 out of 10 excited about the holidays. I grew up with holidays.
I just feel like we have it dialed in, so I feel really excited.
And that's what this is going to be about, like how to dial in your holidays to actually enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm not overwhelmed, so that it gives me room to like feel creative around it and to feel excited.
I feel like a good holiday season is the result of a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Good holidays don't happen by accident, you guys.
This is the culmination of
planning.
years of planning.
But probably not the kind of planning that you used to. I think a lot of you think planning is like making the list of all the gifts and making the list of all the food and the menus. And of course, that's some planning that goes into it. But I mean like planning for yourself what you need to have a good holiday. We're gonna break that up, kind of how we've accomplished that, because we haven't always had great holidays. And so we're going to break it up like, what do we do pre-holiday season? What do we do during holiday season? And what do we do post-holiday season? That if you want to follow some of these things, they work for us and hopefully they'll work for you. So pre.
Okay, so let's rewind 10 years ago. Holidays have always been fun, but they've also been insanely stressful, which I think takes away from the fun.
Yeah, you cancel each other out.
Yes, and then like all of a sudden you're not having fun anymore because you're miserable, you're overwhelmed, you feel like you're eating your face off and you've drank. It's just like overwhelming with that. So we want to keep the season fun all the way throughout. So with that, what we do, if we did rewind the 10 years, we actually had these conversations over and over because we said, what did we love about last year? What did we not like and we would like to see changed? And what would we like to implement that we feel like was missing? So what did we want to see changed? The number one thing for us was, I would say it started with the gifts. I wouldn't say it's number one. Maybe number one was food. Yeah. But it really started with the conversation around the gifts because we were feeling overwhelmed by having to go buy everybody a present, not even knowing what they would want. Yeah, like lots of presents. What's enough? Like I had no idea what was enough, especially for you guys who are like melding families together. Like, you never know, like, what's their version of a good gift and what's enough? And do we need like to have this ultimate like hours of opening gifts? Like, what does that look like? And so we would open presents. And by the end, it's like, number one, we had a bunch of gifts that we would never, ever use because nobody's asking anyone what they want or need. And honestly, we didn't really want or need a whole lot. Yep. So the main thing was that we wanted to spend more time together, like intentional time doing fun things, rather than spending, you know what I'm talking about, that day or that week of running around last minute because you're busy and you're waiting till the last minute to get all these gifts, running around and trying to buy gifts for everyone. And not only that, my love language is not receiving gifts. So I actually did not love getting all of those gifts. It completely freaked me out because I was like, number one, I don't want all these things. And I had to fake liking them. And that felt so inauthentic to me to have to fake for hours, like liking these different gifts. And you guys get, like, I've talked to so many people who totally get what I'm talking about if that's not your love language. Okay. So the conversation went like this. Hey, are we really loving like getting all of these gifts and running around and being stressed out? Or would we rather like take that money and spend it? Yeah, take that money and time and spend it together or do something intentional. How about we all buy one gift? That's it. Each person buys one gift. We set a limit on it. You can set $100. You can set $200, whatever that looks like. We go up to $200 and we all put them in the middle and everybody picks out a gift. And this has been so much fun. This has been about 6 or 7 years now since we've done this. And it is so much fun and we typically do it on Christmas Eve. And it's been just a total blast and it's changed everything for us. We've gotten so much time back together. Way less stress. You don't have to think so much about it. You just have to think about one really great gift that everybody would love. And I think it's been one of the biggest game changers for us having that conversation. And usually then we take some money and invest it into something that we all want to do, whether that's snowboarding or a Christmas cabin or just going and doing something cool that you can spend time together.
We've made it more experiential than about exchanging things.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge thing that's improved the holidays. Okay, so if I had to sum yours up, you're going to assess what's working, what's not working, and then you're going to have tough conversations prior to the holidays to set those boundaries.
Yeah, and you guys, this may not happen all in 1 year. This might be some conversations over the next 2 or 3 years, but I promise you're going to wake up and be like, oh my God, I'm so glad that now we have this new thing that we're doing.
My pre-holiday advice would be kind of similar, but it has more to do with your schedule. So the way yours was less is more for gifts.
Yep.
Mine is less is more for your schedule. Learn to say no to as many of the holiday parties and get-togethers and gatherings and all these traditions and everything else. Learn to say no to the ones that aren't mission critical. What's mission critical during the holidays? I guess anything that's really going to make you happy and going to make those around you really happy. Not kind of happy, really happy. Be really selective with your calendar. Holidays should be relaxed, time spent, a little bit of recharging, some great memories made. It shouldn't be equal to or more chaotic than your normal freaking work week or your normal season of work. That's not what it was meant to be.
Yes.
And I think we all fall into those traps with so many holiday parties and holiday appearances and going to everyone's houses and all that stuff. So, unless that's serving you, pre-holiday, really be protective of your calendar. Really be protective of your schedule and do the less is more thing.
Guys, I have the best hack for you for this too. If you're worried about having FOMO and you're like, oh, but I really want to do it, but I'm worried I'm not going to want to do it.
See, I was FOMO guy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So here's what I've done for a couple of events recently that I'm so freaking grateful I did. So I asked them, I'm like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be in town or I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. When is the latest I can let you know by? A lot of times they're like, oh, you can just text me that day if you can make it. That's fine because it's not a sit down dinner. Maybe it's a cocktail party or whatever. And then that morning I wake up and I'm like, do I want to go or not? And then I have the option of actually deciding based on, do I feel overwhelmed? How's my energy that day? Does this sound exciting or not? Instead of I said yes, and now I have to go even if I don't want to go. So let them know you may be able to make it, but you won't be sure what's the latest that you can let them know by.
I love it. Okay, so if that's some of the stuff you can do pre-holiday, how about during the holidays? What's your advice to have better holidays during
the holidays? Oh God, take care of yourself during the holidays and have the conversation around it. So when you and I really started to have great holidays, here's how we started to have great holidays. We hit a snapping point. I remember we were at a Christmas and we were like, oh my God, we're not walking. We're not working out.
Felt gross.
It was day 4 of being in a house with our family.
Day 4 we were gluttony.
Drinking and eating so much food by 11 a.m., you guys. It was horrendous. And we were miserable and we were fighting. Everyone started fighting. And I remember we went in our bedroom and we're like, we can't do this again. This is not working. We're not doing any of the things that make us happy. So what do we do? So the next year we started having conversations around hey, we're going to be busy until this time during the day. We're going to have to we're going to do a little work. We're going to do our workouts and we'll see you after 3 p.m. We'll be available on this day, or after 5 p.m. we'll be available this day. But we're taking the time every single morning in order to get in our workouts, get a little work done so that we can show up in a great way, so that we can show up in a fun way instead of being stressed out. These things don't make us happy. And also during was we wanted to be able to make sure that we had healthy food options all day long. So we had to start having the conversation around, don't make us food during the day. We don't want to start eating this way during the day because it's making us feel terrible. So we'll have a big dinner with you at night. We'll have dinner with you at night or some cocktails, but we are going to eat healthy and do our thing during the day.
We're going to get our workouts in.
Yes.
We're going to go take our walk still. We're not going to skip the things that make us happy just because it's the holidays.
And also, especially for you guys who go home for a week, we had the conversation with the whole fam of, once in a while, him and I are we're going to go for the afternoon and we're going to go shop around, or we're going to go we're going to go do our own thing for a little bit so that we can reconnect and just kind of come back and feel great about being with everyone this whole time, especially if you're introverts, and we both are.
You don't have to fall into the trap of it being literally 24/7, right?
Yeah.
That's not the goal.
No.
Okay, so summing yours up, I'd say it's really putting yourself first.
Put yourself first.
Every day.
Yep.
Every day, like getting the workout in or making the right food choice, or just really put yourself first so that it doesn't pile up and compound into this breaking point.
Yeah, and let it be okay if someone says something about it. Like, trust me, it's better than you fighting and like giving yourself up every single year for the rest of your life. Hey y'all, if you didn't know, Earn Your Happy is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. This is so exciting to me because I have been looking for a really good home for the show for, I can't even tell you, years, literally. And now I've finally been able to come together and collaborate with other people who have incredible shows, and I want to share them with you. One of the shows is Motivation with Brendon Burchard. And you guys, if you don't know about the beginning of my career, I literally started with Brendon Burchard's work. It's how I launched one of my very first online courses and membership sites, was because he gives so much advice that you can integrate and implement immediately. And that's what you're going to get on the show. Not just motivation, but you're going to learn exactly how to get your stuff out in the world. And not just that, but Brendon runs in the most incredible group of humans who are really doing the thing out in the world that you want to be doing. So go check it out. Go subscribe to Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I promise you, this is going to be one of those shows that no matter when you tune in, you're going to get value. Like, it's not one of those that you're like, God, I listened for 30 minutes and I didn't get what I wanted. Like, from the beginning, you're going to get something that changes your life or changes your business. So go check it out. Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I know you're going to love it. I'm obsessed.
My during the holidays tip is pick your battles. I think this is what, matter of fact, in life, pick your battles is the best thing you can do. But especially during the holidays, listen, you're seeing people you don't normally see. So you might be tempted to rehash old conversations, or you might know that there's certain people that trigger you, or you might know there's certain conversations that trigger you or trigger other people. You might feel like there's some old wrongs that you have to right. I mean, family dynamics are crazy, right, when it comes to the holidays. And then you add to that what you were just saying, food and alcohol and whatever else. Yeah. And it's a recipe for disaster. And it's no wonder that people have so much stress and so many problems and fights and all that during holidays. So my during the holiday advice is pick your battles. Like this, the holidays are not the time to rehash an old conversation. They're not the time to right a wrong. They're not the time to win the conversation. They're not the time to trigger or get triggered or take the bait. If there's someone there that always kind of baits you into what ends up being the fight. They're the last time, the least of the times that you're supposed to be doing any of that. So for me, it's just pick your battles and know what's going to be a problem and stay far, far away from it, and have the integrity to say, hey, you know what? Every year we know that this conversation gets us in trouble, so I'm not going to have this conversation this year. Let's talk about something else.
Mm-hmm. So good.
All right, so what about post? What about post holidays? That's when people really are like, oh God, I'm depressed. I did all this damage. I gained all this weight, or I said the wrong things, or right, or it wasn't what I expected. So what's your tip for post holidays?
Well, what's so cool is your post is going to be a lot easier if you do these two things that we just mentioned, two each there, because you're not going to feel like you're so far behind because you took care of yourself.
Yep.
But post for me, I always like to have something to look forward to. And sometimes that something to look forward to is even a little bit of space because I feel the new year coming on. I like to have some integration time, some creative time. I'm really feeling like, what do I want my next year to look like? So we have created a tradition around New Year's with vision boarding and planning our next year. And we make it really special though. Typically on New Year's Eve, we'll go and get like a great meal in the evening. We'll vision board. We'll talk about our wins from the last year and we'll celebrate those and we'll put our goals down for the next year. And so I really look forward to that after Christmas. But even more so, I think it's important to also have something in January or February that you are really looking forward to. Maybe it's a getaway, or maybe it's something big in your business that you're planning. Maybe you're going to do something that's really big for me is having something in my business that I know is going to move my business forward. So maybe it's a business mastermind. Maybe it's a trip that you put together with a bunch of your friends who are also in business, where you're going to really go deep on each other's business, and you do that at a really fun spot for like 3 or 4 days. Something like that, where right after the holidays, you're immediately really excited about going and like doing something that also feels creative.
I love it. I think so many people look forward to the holidays so much that then when it's over, it feels like a letdown. You're like, oh my God, what now? Like the exciting part of the year, the best part of the year is over.
Right.
So what now?
Right.
So I love this idea of let's line up some things to be equally excited about going into the new year. For me, it is, you kind of said it, I call it leave some runway. I think one of the biggest problems people do is they go from the holidays right into mass chaos. Tons of business, tons of obligations, and they don't leave any runway for a smooth landing. You got to remember, this is the end of your year. This is the start of your new year. You need that runway for a smooth landing. So protect your calendars, kind of like the pre-holiday advice, post-holiday advice as well, guys. Protect your calendars. Have some you time in there. Have some planning time in there. Make sure that you've got enough runway for a smooth landing and for the landing the year prior, and a smooth takeoff for the new year coming up. So that's my best advice. At the end of the day, guys, you got to do you. And it really is, like, to me, I love holidays so much. It's the best time of the year. I just get caught up in the romance of it all, the magic of it all, and all that stuff. And I have fun getting caught up in that. But I'm able to have fun in those things now because of the boundaries that we've exercised, because of the planning that we've put into it, because of being willing to experiment and try new things. And it's in that experimentation, not being too stuck on tradition, that's allowed us to really design holidays for everybody that we all like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Okay, well, you have some things that people could look forward to after the new year.
You set me up for the mastermind, babe.
I am.
I love it. So we are more than half full, which is really exciting. Our elite mastermind is for any business owner that's going to do over $500,000 in revenue in 2023. And this year's class is shaping up so freaking good. I love the people in there. Every year I try to put together as diverse of a class as possible, so that the idea is everything you need is in that room or one intro away. And I love the different types of masterminds out there, but the truth is, the ones that don't value a diverse number of businesses, meaning, like, let's say there's an attorney, there's a graphic artist, there's a podcast editor, there's a advertising specialist, right? If you don't have a lot of diversity in skill sets and businesses, then you miss out on that magic of someone outside looking in saying, oh, I know what to do. Here's what we do in our industry. You should try it in yours. And that becomes the groundbreaking magical advice that no one else is doing yet in your business. So if that's what you guys want to be a part of in learning from us, locking arms with us, being a part of our very intimate group that we put together every year, go ahead and go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. Check everything out there. Get your application in right away. If it's an application that qualifies, you get an invite. We jump on Zoom. We interview each other. We make sure you're a perfect fit for this mastermind group. So go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. It's the favorite thing I do every single year. I call it mastermind season, filling the perfect souls in that room. And it could be you who's listening right now. So go check it out. chrisharder.me/mastermind. chrisharder.me/mastermind. In the meantime, thanks for listening. Love and appreciate you.
See you next week. Hey, I know if you're listening to this podcast that you have big dreams and big goals. And one of the things that can really stop you is struggling with your marketing. Trust me, I have been there. Are you using 10 different systems just to build your online business? Then I want you to try Kajabi. Kajabi helps you build your web pages, set up funnels, and sell your courses, content, coaching, or communities. You've been hearing me talk a lot about funnels on this podcast and the importance of your email list. You can get a free trial at kajabi.com. That's Kajabi.com.
I've talked about Kajabi before, but here's something that's super cool and new. They just rolled out an AI assistant for creating your online course curriculum. And this means you just type in a topic that you want to create on a course or webinar, and bam, it just generates a sample outline for you. It takes a ton of the hard work away. Of course, you're going to customize it to be your own, but this really helps you get over the struggle of how in the world to start, which is where most people stop. If you're like me, starting is always the hardest part, and that's what makes Kajabi so popular. They've made it easier for creators to build web pages, build courses, build coaching programs, build membership sites, build checkout pages, and build email funnels. So if you're struggling with any of those, you got to go check it out. Go to kajabi.com. Kajabi was really the first all-in-one system and is trusted by over 100,000 creators. I think that's good enough for me. Also has influencers and marketers who use this. And now their smart AI platform makes it easy to take what you know and turn it into an online course and business. Go start building with a free trial at kajabi.com. That's kajabi.com.
Hey all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show, and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys, make sure that you go subscribe to the show, Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it.